listening to the Spirit Podcast.
Welcome back, radiant souls, curious seekers, and travelers beyond the veils. I'm your host, Beck, and with me is my co-host, energy empath, and intuitive compass, Rachel.
Hello.
Today's guest is someone whose very presence seems to hum with resonance. His story begins in childhood, deepens through a mother's brush with death, and is forever transformed by his own near-death experience. Since that moment, he has devoted his life to supporting others on their healing journey, body, mind, and soul. Our guest is Xavier R Roman, a gifted healer whose work spans from hands-on restoration to remote energy channeling, often helping those who've been told there's no hope left. He's been on quite a journey, and today he's generously opening up more of that story with us. We're honored to have this space with him and to share it with all of you. Xavier, welcome to the Spirit. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin at the core. Who is Xavier Roman beyond the healer, beyond the practitioner? When did this extraordinary path begin for you?
Well, I am a dad. I have one child, and this whole thing began for me at age 5.
Now, I know your mother's near fatal car accident in 2005 was a pivotal moment. Can you walk us through that time and how it began to awaken something in you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say when that happened, it awakened more of me to go ahead and really focus and really do what I'm put here to do. She got into that accident, and of course, I've been knowing that I could do this since 5 because that's when I did it the first time. But once that accident happened and standing in that waiting room at the ER, and once the doctor comes in and tells you, what does he think, what does he feel, and so forth. And once someone tells you that, hey, it's hour to hour, she might not make it, so forth. When you hear those kinds of words, you really get focused. And I really got focused. And that was something that I wanted to really do. Not that I don't want to do it for everybody, because I really do. But at that time, it really put everything back in focus that, hey, listen, you need to continue to do this. And you need to try to help as many people as you can and not take your foot off the gas pedal, so to speak. So that's what I focused on while she was in the hospital and the ICU.
But your full activation didn't happen right away. What held you back? Were you afraid of the gift?
Everything became active when I was 5. When I first done that, when I first had helped somebody as a child, and I continued on to do that, especially in medical centers and doctors' offices and so forth. But once that happened, it just made me focus, sit still, and really think about and intend on making sure that wouldn't happen, that she wouldn't leave. And I know I get the backlash or the comments of, hey, God decides this and that, so forth. Sometimes I'll tell a person, well, who do you think sent me here? I don't think I'm special or anything like that, but that is how I feel, though. Who do you think sent me here? We're all given things to go ahead and do, and mine just becomes a little bit unordinary. And so at that time, I was like, no, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to go ahead and aid in making this happen. Even though it's not me doing the work, but it's what comes through me, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that she comes back and that she's here.
Do you believe that we all have something special within us? And if you do think that, do you try to help other people open that part of them up?
I do believe that we all have something in us, but I don't try to help people open that up because everybody's different. Everybody has different things and so forth. Now, if they wanted to learn about how I do things or what I see when I'm doing it, that's different. I could go ahead and try to show a person, tell a person what I do and how I get there and how quick it happens. But that would be up to the individual to say, hey, can you show me how you do this, how you do that?
I have to agree with you on everybody having different abilities. It's not one size fits all. There was a point in 2010 where you had a near-death experience, and I'm wondering what happened during that emergency surgery and what did you witness, hear, or feel on the other side?
Okay, well, I can remember that day. Every time I tell the story, I'm right back there. I'm like there, as if it happened just yesterday. I remember I had bad stomach pains and they were just so bad. It was just like, I thought, hey, maybe I got to go to the washroom. Hey, maybe I ate something bad and this and that and so forth. And I remember telling somebody, because somebody had asked me, hey, if you had to die, what would be your last meal? And then at that time, I was like, oh man, that's easy. Wings and pizza. I said, man,
Nice. Yes.
I said, I could die on that last meal right there. I said, wings and pizza? Yes. I no longer eat wings. Of course, that was 25. Yeah, that's 25 years ago. I could definitely eat that many wings and pizza and so forth. Oh my God, I can't believe I said something that stupid and this and that. And I just ate pizza and wings 2 days in a row before that happened. And I was like, no, I'm like,
No.
oh no, this can't be true. This can't be true. So I continued on to feel bad. And my wife at that time, she had said, hey, let's go to the doctor. I said, no, we have to go to the hospital. This is something bad. I know this for sure. This is not a doctor thing. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, we're going to the hospital. Look, I know what's going to happen. I'm telling you what the Lord knows. I says, I'm staying. I don't think I'm coming back right away. I'll say that. That doesn't mean I'm staying at the hospital, but I'm staying overnight. I'm not coming back home to the show. Oh my God, what are you talking about? And so we went. And so then I had a appendix thing. And so they said, hey, your appendix, it's got to come out. And you had a slight, I think it was a burst or something like that. But they were like, you got to start drinking this with some flavored stuff. You got to drink 2 of these, and then we'll get you in. And then we're going to perform the surgery procedure. I was like, all right, cool. I said, yes, I'm not dealing with this. Like this stuff hurts way too bad and it's not stopping. Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it. So then I go ahead and have the surgery, come out, and I recover. And then I go home. 5 days later, I start getting cold and then hot, and then cold and hot. And cold, that was weird because I remember it was like 101, 102 degrees outside and the air conditioner was on, but it was very hot outside when you open the door. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting cold. I'm getting cold. And then we called the surgeon who did the surgery and so forth. We called the hospital and they says, oh, he's having an infection. Did he finish the meds? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's got to come back in. He's having some kind of infection. And then I was like, yeah, I figured that because your body starts getting real hot, it starts getting real cold when you have some kind of infection in your body.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're coming back. And so we go back and they're like, hey, we ran these tests, we did these scans, and you have an infection from the surgery, and now it's going up to your organs above. Now we have to do this thing right away. Tomorrow morning, we could go ahead and schedule for this. The infection is going to go right to your heart, and once it gets there, there's no turning back. We won't be able to bring you. You'll die. I'm like, oh man, come on. I got so much stuff to do tomorrow. And so they're like, hey, we'll let these antibiotics run, but it doesn't seem to be helping, and it's not going to help this what you have. So that's just where it's at. I was like, yeah, I don't have no choice. And my wife at the time was like, oh my God, what? She was like, I wasn't ready to hear this. And I was like, you too? You weren't the only one. So I went ahead and did the surgery. And if you ever had a surgery, they usually tell you to count to this many seconds before the anesthesia kicks in. And I remember he said, okay, count to 3. And before 3, you'll be out. I just remembered 1, 2, and I was gone. And so as they're performing the surgery and I'm out, I come out of my body and I'm standing there now and I'm witnessing and watching them perform the procedure. And my arms are crossed and I'm just standing there. I didn't have no judgment, no input about what they're doing. I was just observing. That's it. I was just observing, no feeling at all. And so they're doing it. And I can remember the surgeon, he had cut me right down the middle from my belly button to my navel to open it up. And boom, I remember seeing all this pus and blood go on his apron. Luckily, he had one of those masks that you wear from your forehead all the way down to your neck, so nothing would hit them in the face. And luckily he wore that because they seen all the blood and pus go on there. And then I heard him swear because God on him. And as they were going on, then boom, the heart monitor thing went on. they didn't go into panic, but then they started moving real fast. I heard as soon as it went on, they're like, oh, SHIT, and then they started moving real fast.
You could say it.
And yeah, okay, I didn't know if I could do that,
Oh,
but
you're fine.
you know, yeah, they were like, oh shit, and then they just started moving real fast. And I remember after a little bit of time, I remember them pulling those pads out, the defibrillator and so forth, and boom, I left. Then I was gone. And then as I was gone, if you ever seen, what's that movie called? The Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
And just almost like that, because I know people will picture it different, almost like that, everything was golden bricks. And then you had trees on both sides of the road. They were going up and then they met each other. So it formed like a tunnel, real beautiful and everything. And so I'm running through it and then I'm doing flips and I'm running and I'm jumping and I felt so good. And then boom, then there was a white tunnel, white light right at the end. And then I slowed down. Whoa, what is this? And then I went right through it. And then I seen some people that had passed that I knew of. And then boom, I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you saw these people,
Uh-huh.
what happened from there? Were they like, turn around, you got to go back, you're not done? Or was there a little bit of time there?
No. So I went in, and then as I went in, everything was like perfect. The grass was perfect. Everything was beautiful. Everything was just perfect. That's how I could say it. Every piece of grass looked like that. If you ever gone golfing, the little putter's grass and stuff like that, where you put the ball in, everything was perfect, just like that, all the grass. So one friend in particular that had passed away when I was younger, hey, how's it going, man? How is it over here? And so forth. And he's laughing at me and so forth and saying, oh, it's great. It's great. How have you been? And I was like, what do you mean, how have I been? Like, how have you been? We're going back and forth, doing that type of exchange. And I'm talking to him like, it's like, what do you mean, how have I been? Like, you're the one who died. You're the one who
Right.
passed away. And he's looking at me like, well, you are too, because you're over here. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. I was like, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. Oh man. He said, don't worry, you get used to it, man. He said, you get used to it. He says, it's because it's all new to you. And I'm laughing, he's laughing, and so forth. And then I seen some other people, and I just waved hi to them that I had seen from the neighborhood that passed away and so forth. I didn't know them, but I remember walking past them and seeing them as I was younger and seeing them in the neighborhood. And then I came up to my grandmother. And so I gave her a hug, sat down, we talked for a while on a bench, and we talked and talked. At the end of our conversation, she says, hey, do you want to stay? And I looked at her like, oh, wow, I have to make a decision, huh? What do you think? Oh, it took me a while to answer that question because there's a part of me that felt like I was at home.
Understandable.
Like, yeah, I don't really like it here real quick. And yeah, you like it because this is your home. And then I says, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go back. I have some real big things for me that I want to do. And
Nice.
she said, okay, okay, mijo. In Spanish, that means son. Even that's just how they say it in Spanish. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go, but I'll be back. I said, I'll be back. She said, oh, I know you will. Well, I'll be back. And then I just laughed and I was like, yeah, no, I'll be back. She said, okay. She said, now that you know what it's like, I'll be around there. And I was like, yeah, I always knew you were around there. I said, I always knew. And she said, well, now you know you don't. I was like, yeah, wow, this is something. So then I left. There was things that happened in the middle of all that, but that's just the short version. So then I left. And then when I came back, I was in the post-operating room. So I'm in the post-operating room and I'm just barely opening my eyes. And there's a part of me like, oh my God, what a dream. And oh my God, man, I'm in the hospital. Wow, I'm out of it, but I'm waking up. And they moved my arms a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, they really did this, the surgery and so forth. And then the post-operating nurse comes up to me. Hey, Miss Roman. Oh, hey. She's like, oh, okay. How are you? Okay? You okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Wow. I'm drugged up. I'm getting up. And she's, oh, man. She's touching me on my shoulder. And she's, oh, man, we almost lost you. Doc and them, they brought you back. They got you back and running. I'm touching my chest because it felt like hot or something, like burning or something like that. So I'm just taking it that's from the defibrillator. And she's, yeah, don't touch that area too much. It might be a little hot or something like that. And she says, yeah, but they brought you back and this, and then boom, my eyes popped open over the medication. The adrenaline came. I woke up so fast, really got up. And I was like, oh my God, the heartbeat monitor starts going faster. She said, what's wrong? It was real. She said, what was real? And I was like, I went over on that other side and I seen it all. She said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, I thought it was just a dream when I woke up before you came to me. And wow, that was real. I said, I seen them do this. I seen them do that. He swore he said that. He swore he said that after it went flat and so forth. And this went on him. And she went to go get this. And I was like, I said, I watched it. She's like, oh my God. Just relax. This is the morphine. It's going to pump every, I don't know, it's 15 or 20 minutes. But if you need it sooner, but you can't have it any sooner than this, they just hit this pump right here. And you might need to hit it sooner than later because you look like too awake. And you're not supposed to be this awake. It usually takes a while because you're still under the meds and so forth. And so she's, oh my God, what happened? What did you see? She gave me some time. That of course, she asked me those questions. And then I told her stuff that I seen. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that was real. I said, I cannot believe. You know what? I've been here for 20 something years or something like that, or somewhere around there. She says, I've been here for that long. And you hear about this every once in a while. She said, I've never come across nobody, but I have other coworkers that have come across this, not many. And I'm getting ready to retire and I get to hear this and so forth. I'm fighting drugs and I'm in amazement and back and forth. And she's like, hey, can I come up to your room and talk to you? I was like, yeah, sure. She's like, yeah, I just want to know more. I just want to know more what you're seeing. What do you think? And so forth. And so I said, okay, yeah. She said, I'm not going to be a nurse. She said, I'm just going to come as a visitor when I get some time and so forth. I said, yeah, sure, no problem, no big deal. And she ended up coming up there, and I just told her more of the details of what I seen and yeah, everything.
You were given the remembrance, and not
Yeah.
everybody gets to have that. Do you feel as if you were chosen to have that remembrance, to tell people, to help guide them and give them that reassurance of the other side?
Yeah, I think so because anybody who's witnessed that much detail, I'm sure like a psychologist or psychiatrist or somebody, they'd probably try to diminish that and say, oh, it was just your imagination. No, it all matched. I thought it was imagination until she verified it. Once I started getting up in the post-op, I had that much detail to go ahead and say and tell people what I think they should look for or shouldn't or things of that nature. Yeah, I think so. If someone asks me, I tell them. I also to see things before they happen. So if you came to a movie with me, like I went to the movies last night, if you came to a movie with me, I'm the one this is gonna happen before the and what's gonna happen next? This is gonna happen next. And boom, I haven't went to go see the movie, it's brand new. But so I'm telling them, oh yeah, I know what's gonna happen. This is gonna happen, this and that. Oh, come on, don't say no. Okay, you asked. So there's a lot of things that I'm able to see that are gonna happen before they happen.
Obviously, you just stated you had a psychic gift. What else changed?
Well, what changed for me is a slightly different way to live. For example, what I learned that you're not supposed to be around, like, I think everybody knows you're not supposed to be around negativity and so forth. You're not supposed to be around anything that takes away your peace. You feel it taking away your peace, then you got to go because the unpeaceful thing is not going to remove itself. So you have to remove yourself or you have to change your mind. But there's only so many times you can change your mind to see things, perceive things how you want to perceive it in a good manner, in a good light. So I would have to remove myself from anything, anyone, any person. Once I recovered from my surgery, I remember telling myself a little bit bad, but it's not bad. It's part of life now that I know what I know. I remember telling my wife I had been home for maybe a couple weeks. And I remember she had complained about something. And I'm like, hey, okay, I'll get that. Don't worry about that. And then there's a complaint on top of that complaint. And I was like, hey, listen, just say it. Don't complain it. Just say it. Don't complain it. And then it will get handled. And then that'll be that. There's no reason to stick in madness and stick in anger over something that we have control over, especially me, that I could fix, adjust. And so I was like, man, I don't like that no more. I can't deal with that. Complaints and the anger and anything that's associated with that. So then the next month went on, and I remember we were might have been in July by that time. There was a beginning of an argument. And I'm like, hey, look it, I told you we're not going to do this arguing thing. We're not going to do this fighting thing. And I said, hey, do you ever notice that I don't start an argument, I don't start a fight? And I said, and I know what you're going to say. It could be because you're the one starting the stuff, or you're the one doing the stuff that we don't like, or blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, but still, there's plenty of opportunities when I could do that, but I choose not to. I'd rather choose peace than choose the opposite. I can't live like that. I can't. That's my constitution and so forth going forward. So we can't fight, fuss, argue, but you could tell me things that need to be fixed, adjusted, whatever, but there's not going to be no more arguing. Okay? There's not. And I promise I'm not going to argue with you. Like, no. So if we do that one more time, I don't want to be in this. What do you mean? I said, hey, listen, I'm saying this in a nice way, and that's the only way I know how to say it. And that's just that. So everything calmed down for about a month and a half. And then I got another start of an argument. And I was like, I just started to feel better finally. It took, I don't know, I think it took me like a couple months to start feeling good. And then I finally went outside and I finally went to the store and so forth. She said, oh, you're better now, huh? I said, yeah, I do feel better now. I think I could start to walk far distance now. And then as soon as I gave her the yes, yeah, I do feel better now. And then it was like an argument. I said, wait, hold on. Remember I said we're not going to do that? I don't care. I said, okay, we're done. She said, what? I said, we're done. That's it. I don't want to be in this no more. You're not supposed to live like this. Don't you think this is a little bit too extreme? I says, yeah, it's extreme that you're doing it. I don't want to live like that. And hey, you're doing it. And then, wait a minute, you can't, blah, blah. Look, I'm done. I'm done. That was the divorce right there.
So you set your
Yeah.
boundaries, and obviously that wasn't meant to go further because you were more spiritually aligned and she wanted the drama.
Yeah, but I would have never have done that before in the past, especially something that extreme. Okay, I'm done. Let's just get divorced. What? Huh? Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, we're gonna get a divorce. What? You're crazy. But okay, if I'm crazy, then maybe that's what it is. But I told you we're not supposed to live like that. And you're not supposed to be like that. Oh, people do this every day. Blah, blah. I said, look at, you're talking about the people that do it every day. How about the people and the couples that don't do it? I know we could say there's far few that don't do it, but how about those far few right there? You don't want to go there. I'm there. You don't want to go there. And I know it's hard for you to go ahead and just shift your mind and change things. And this didn't happen to you, but it happened to me and so forth. I says, hey, I requested it. This is like the third time, and I'm not going to argue. I'm happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here.
Wow.
And I was like, that's it. No, you can't. No, that's it. Hey, take what you need. You're welcome to have whatever you need. And let's go, man. Hey, as long as we got a bed, I'm good.
That is
And that was
very
it.
powerful.
Yeah. And here's the kicker. We had been together for 8 years. We got married. And September 12th would have been our anniversary. And when I told her that, it was 1 week before our 1 year anniversary. So we didn't make the 1 year. Yeah. I knew that in my mind that, hey, the anniversary it's not going to make it better just because you hit the 1 year mark or this. That's just time. It's just time. That's all it is. And time with this person doing this is just going to take away my peace. And I'm not letting that go. That's just number one, period.
That's an important lesson for many because a lot of us stay in relationships that cause disharmony within inside ourselves. There's a lot of static and noise, and there's energy funneling that they're taking that's energy from you, and it's a constant depletion. It's a constant war without resolve. And I completely understand wanting to talk about things. We're human, right? We're going to have
Yeah.
arguments. We're going to have bad days. But when it comes to something like what you were experiencing, to actually set that boundary and say, no longer, I'm not going to do this anymore. This isn't good for me, for my soul, for my journey. So congrats. That's a very hard, difficult thing. And like Rachel said, very powerful to be able to set the boundary and actually continue walking through or walking forward.
The process after is a little bit hard, but to do it was like, it was easy. Yeah, it was easy.
Hey, Spirit Seekers, enjoying the show? Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Spirit. Leave us a review on Apple or Spotify and share the love. We drop a new video every week on our YouTube channel covering paranormal, conspiracy, high strangeness, and more. Have questions or want to share your own spooky story? Drop us a line at tothespiritpod@gmail.com. Stay spirited.
And you've helped people from all walks of life, some near death and others in deep emotional pain. What has it been like to step into this work publicly?
Now that was tough. That was hard. That was really hard. I never told any friends or family until 3 years ago. Now I did show one of my family members what I could do one time because they were very sick, but that was probably like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. My sister had been real sick. She's laying down in bed with my mom, and I like to joke around a lot. And back then, at that time, I was like, hey, what's wrong with you? And my mom's like, hey, leave her alone. She's feeling like this and like that. Wow. I said, hey, Mom, maybe you shouldn't be too close to her. If she has some kind of thing, you might catch it from her. And my sister, just go away. And I was like, okay, you feel real bad. Hey, you want to feel better? Her words were like, shut up. Leave me alone. And I'm like, no, for real, I'm being serious. Do you want to feel better? And she's, what are you talking about? Crazy? And I'm like, no, I'm just asking, do you want to feel better? She says, of course, who wants to feel like this? My stomach hurts, my head hurts, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I think I can make you feel better right away. She says, what do you mean? I said, just do you want to feel better? I said, usually people have to tell me. I'm not going to go out and look for people to help them. She said, what are you talking about? I said, do you want to feel better? Yes or no? Simple, nothing in between. She said, yes. I said, okay, give me a minute. So I walk out the room, I go sit on the sofa, and I close my eyes, and I begin. And then I get up about a minute or two later, about 2 minutes, and then I go stand back by the doorway of my mom's bedroom, and I'm just watching TV with them. I hear my mom laughing. My sister chuckled a little bit. And I didn't say nothing. I'm just waiting to hear her say something. And I continued watching the show with them. They were laying down. I was standing up. And then I was like, oh, hey, how do you feel? She just stopped and she just looked around like, I'm okay. I said, what do you mean you're okay? How do you feel? How's your head feel? How's your stomach feel? She said, yeah, they feel better. I said, well, what happened? She says, I don't know. And then she starts laughing. And I said, so you feel better? And then my mom looked at her. She smiled at her. She said, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. Wait a minute. What did you do? I just sat down so I could make you feel better. What do you mean, crazy? What did you do? I said, oh, nothing. Just a little something I do so I could help people feel better. And then she started laughing like, you're crazy. And I was like, yeah, but you feel good, right? She just starts laughing and she's just shaking her head like, yeah, I guess. I says, you guess. You know what? I wish I knew how to get you sick. Back to how you were so that you could be really thankful and grateful. I said, but I don't know how to do that. And she's like, I guess thanks, whatever. I said, see, you're still not grateful. You think within this many minutes time, something just came out of the blue and you just felt better from both of those areas and your body feeling sore and this and that. And you just feel better. You know what? The good thing is I don't need to feel good. I don't need the praise. I don't need the, oh, you should be thanking me. And so I don't need that. You're better. I got to go. And I just left. That was it.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Xavier, what's your process with this healing that you do?
So what I do is I just need to look at a person's eyes after they tell me what's going on, what's wrong with them. I close my eyes and white light just comes, it just fills my body. And then there's white light all around me. I'm surrounded by white light, and then I just direct that white light towards where they're saying that they don't feel well at.
Can you do that virtually too?
Oh yeah, I mostly do it virtually. As long as I can see the person's eyes, then I can do that.
Have you had any moments in your healing work that left you stunned or cases where the outcome seemed miraculous?
Yes, definitely. When I go to hospitals, I'll go visit people who, like, say, if they're like in a serious condition, ICU and so forth, I'll go there and they usually tell me, hey, listen, the doctor said it's not looking good. They probably got till tomorrow, today. They tell the family, come on in. So if they're out of town, they got this much time left and so forth. So those are the times that I'll go. And yeah, there's been times when I go and they don't end up leaving. Again, I'm not saying that's because of me, but whatever comes through me, I totally believe that's what it is. That's what it is that helps those people and so forth.
Do you consciously work with any guides or ancestors or source energy when you're doing this work?
Source energy, yeah, I believe it is source energy, God, so forth. I believe that is a part, a taste of source energy that person is getting a part of for that moment in time so they could feel better or to be alleviated from whatever they're feeling that's doing harm to them or getting them ill, not feeling well, and so forth.
You've helped people whose doctors have given up on them. What do you think traditional medicine is missing when it comes to healing the whole person?
Well, I use traditional medicine, but I will say if that is the third leading cause of death from misdiagnosis and from drugs, then if all fails, try another way. Try another way. How could you not find another way? Quick example, I remember there's this person on Facebook that's showing this child that had to be at least about 2 years old, 2, maybe 3, and they had cancer in was it the brain? It's somewhere wrong with the brain. And then I reached out to that person because they were posting for a friend of theirs. And I said, hey, listen, man, I seen your story. Hey, ask the mom if there's any way I could come see their child. I read your post. You said that they don't have much time left. You said the child's not going to make it and so forth. And this is terminal. Just do me a favor. I know you don't know me. Here's my website. Check it out. See some of the things that I do. Look at the videos and give it to her. Tell her, can I go ahead and see your child? Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes because some of the minutes are going to be done. We're talking, but the other minutes, I just need to be around them. It's worth a shot, isn't it? It's worth a shot. Hey, you said that they're going to leave. The child's going to leave. Okay, I'll ask. Man, she comes back. She's, I said, hey, reach back out to me. Well, whatever happened? This baby doesn't have much time, according from what you wrote. Well, what's going on? Oh, yeah, she said no. I says, no. Is this not her baby? Like, why no? Like, that's crazy. Why no? Why not try something else? It can only help. It can't get the baby any worse. And even if the baby did go, then, hey, at least the child's not suffering no more. I says, but the child's going to go anyway. So why not try this? I don't even need to touch the baby if she'd like. I said, I'd rather in this case, just my fingertips, but I don't need to. I just need to be by the baby. And she says, no, she's just going to pray and let God handle it. I says, wait, well, if that's the case, then why not let me do it? I said, where do you think I come from? I might not talk so light and eloquent like some guru on TV, but look, I know what I could do, and I know it's worth a try. And I'm willing to go ahead and drive over there to the house, be with the child, give it a shot. You guys could be there. You could bring whoever. She could be right next to me if she wants. And I said, I just want to give it a try. Look, I got a little one too, and I wouldn't know what to do if that happened. But I know what I would do. It's painful. Moments like that, and that's not the only time, when you hear, especially little kids or something like that, that's not the only time where I'm like frustrated. My level of frustration is just so high because I'm like, let me try. I know what this could do. It sounds odd to you, but it's not to me. Just let's give it a shot. No, no. Okay. All right. Have a good day.
I've spoken to a Reiki practitioner once that was working on a woman that had cancer. And what she ended up telling me was she could work on her to ease the symptoms and the pain and the suffering. But if her soul had already set up to go, there was nothing more really she could do. So I'm wondering if that's this situation. Although this sounds like the parent just didn't want to even let you try that. And I'm not sure
Yeah.
why they wouldn't. If you love your child, I would be willing to try anything.
Anything. You name it. Get a can of Coke and pour it over my head. Maybe
Yeah.
pick it out, name it. As long as it's not going to harm my child any worse than whatever they're doing, try it. Go ahead. Have at it. I got to be there. That's it. Yeah, but yeah. And what you just mentioned right now, that design, that's something that is in that person's contract, if you want to say.
Yes.
But just like everybody, you could ask, hey, look, I don't want to go through that. And of course, you could get a no. You could get a no too.
Right.
You're not going to always get a yes. As they say, people pray for this, they pray for that, pray for this. And sometimes you're going to get a no. You're going to go through this. You're going to do it. You don't like it. It's not going to feel good, but you're going to learn from this. It's going to get you better. And once you get out of it, oh my God, I remember the timing of that thing was hell. You're like, I went through here, this and that. And you live to talk about it, help somebody else through your horrible situation. But in cases like that, if you want to say on paper, it's a petition that, hey, I'm not ready to leave. I got to do this. Hey, I want to live, this and that. And okay, well, we'll send you something that's going to go ahead and help you and aid you to make that happen, even though it sounds unbelievable.
You hold space for so much emotion and pain and transformation. How do you restore yourself? What grounds you?
Whenever I do a session with someone, I actually feel better when I do it. Usually people ask me, hey, after you're done, does it take the energy out of you? I hear so much about people feeling drained, feeling this. I said, no, not me. I said, I actually feel better than I do when I started because this energy and this white light is still around me. And man, I feel a little over exaggeration. Like pick up a car and just toss it. That's how I feel when I'm done.
A lot of people have to work on that grounding in order to get that energy return, and you just intuitively do it. You just know how to do it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and even at times I'm looking for more. After I'm done, I'm looking for more for somebody else. Okay, if you got anybody else I need to work on? Like, yeah, there'll be times when I need more.
Some people are born with a sense of being different, and that can feel isolating. Did you ever struggle with belonging?
When I was little, back to the time when I first did it, when I was 5. When I first did it, I was across the street, and kitty corner directly across the street, there's a mom and a child, and he looked a little bit younger than me. I was 5, and they were both crying. The child was holding the mom by the waist, and the mom had her hands on the child, and they're crying in the corner. And I thought that was like, there must have been something really bad going on to be doing that in public in midday to do that. And so something came over me. I was like, man, I want to help them. I said, man, what can I do to help them? Oh my God, something bad is happened where they're crying. And there's a little part of me that was like a little scared. Oh my God, why are they crying in the street? Why are they crying on the street? wow, right here by the bus stop, right in the corner. I can picture it right now as I'm saying it to you, that exact location. And then I'm like, man, maybe I could help them. Maybe I could help them. I wish I could help them. And the lady had to see me because I was like staring right at them. And I just said, I'm gonna help them. And I just closed my eyes and I put my head down for a couple seconds and I wanted to help them. And then that's when I felt this light over my body. And then my eyelids, I could see all this white, bright light as if the sun was in my eyes, even though I had my head down. And then I wanted that light to go towards them. And I opened my eyes. And about 2 seconds later, they both stopped, especially the kid, because you could hear his cry. They both stopped and they started looking around and on both sides, like it's something's around them. And the mom was doing the same thing too. And then the kid let go of the mom and he's looking around. What was that? And then I looked at them and then she looked down at him and I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they said something. But they were just like, what happened? I looked at myself like, oh my God, did I do that?
Did you feel like
And
a
I was like,
superhero?
you know what? My very next words were, if you ever heard my other interviews, I said, am I a superhero? Because you're five, so you're going to say things like that. I'm a superhero. Oh my God. Yeah, I started looking at my hands. I started looking at my legs. What's going on? Wow, what is this? Oh my God, did I do that? So then I'm walking home and I'm like, who am I going to tell? When does the flying part come in? Am I going to get to fly now or how does this work? And then I was like, wait, let me try to run. Let me see if I can run faster like that Flash guy. And I was like, and I started running. I think I'm a little bit faster. I don't know. I started picking on my arms and my shirt, like, oh my God, did my muscles get bigger? I started doing that. and I'm by myself. That's pretty much how it went.
So, as your practice evolves, what's next for you now? What's your greater vision for this work?
I'd really like to help people in larger groups
Like a
and
mass
help them
healing?
like that. Yeah, yeah, like a mass healing.
Wow, have you tried that yet?
I almost did one time at the school, but then they shut me down at the last minute. No, our principal said like this and that, and this other lady's going to be there. She's going to be doing this other presentation. It won't take long. What about people that are diabetic and people that are older and they hurt when they walk and this and that? Yeah, I think that might be too much for them. They might think that's a little weird. I said, yeah, but I bet you the results won't feel weird.
People are just so afraid of the unknown, even though they'll dive into other types of quote unquote healing practices that are actually quite harmful. And there's no harm behind this. And they are so afraid of it just because they don't know it. And a doctor didn't tell them that it's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I always equate that to nothing against people who took the shot. I have families who took the COVID shot and so forth. I would always tell people like, no, I swear, the minute that thing came before they announced it, that they were going to give something, that they're preparing to go ahead and help people with this. I closed my eyes and it just, no. No. And then I told my mom, you know what? You're not taking the shot. I'm definitely ain't taking the shot. You're not taking the shot. I'll let them know, but you let your kids know. No, that's his watch.
That's interesting because a lot of people that are spiritual, we didn't take it. It's like we had a discernment. We knew something's up with this.
Yes, definitely. And as you dug in deeper, then, well, you didn't even have to really go deep. Hey, let me see the ingredients. Let's see what it's made of. Oh, we don't have that. Oh, we're definitely not taking it. Come on. That's a joke, right? That's how I went at it and looked at it when I first seen that, hey, well, what's in it? Oh, well, we don't know. Oh, come on, I'm not taking this. Come on, we don't even know. Like that's enough. Hey, how about the liability? What if I get sick from this? Who do I get? Because I got to get somebody. If I get sick or if I get a bad reaction, who do I get? Oh, yeah, there's no liability. Oh, there's not a chance I take this stuff. That means there's something wrong. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah.
All right, Xavier, it's time for our rapid fire round.
Sure.
Don't think, just feel. Astrological sign.
Scorpio?
First color or energy you sense when you begin a healing.
White.
One word to describe your near-death experience.
Now.
Most unexpected place someone has asked you for healing.
In the street.
Do you feel more connected to the past, the future, or the present?
Future.
What grounds you instantly?
Healing.
If you could ask Source one question, what would it be?
What day do I leave?
Favorite thing about being human?
My son.
Nice. Xavier, thank you so much for sharing your truth and your courage and your light with us today. It's rare to speak with someone who has touched both sides of the veil and chose to return, not just to live, but to heal. To our listeners, if something stirred within you during this episode, don't ignore it. Also, for our listeners, how can they connect with you?
Yes, they could just go to my website. It's my name, XavierRoman.com. That's XavierRoman.com. And they can see all my social media tabs on the website as well. And then they can see video of me doing sessions with people and so forth.
Beautiful. We've included all of Xavier's contact information in the episode description. Reach out. Listen to the whisper. Healing is not only possible, it's your birthright. And to all of you navigating the liminal, walking the edges, or finding your way back to the center, stay open, stay curious, and as always,
to the spirit
Podcast.
supernatural science
I'm ghost.
psychic mystic
Spirit.
divine source
Heaven. The dead. It's magic.